How's it going, guys? Jacob T1 here with Service Bell. I'm here to talk about how to get over cold call anxiety. I rip usually around 100 dials a day, and I've booked hundreds of meetings at this point over the phone. I still get cold call anxiety, and I want to teach you how to overcome it because it's something that can really cripple you. It prevents you from hitting your number, prevents you from hitting quota. It impacts how you sound on the phone. It's not good, and it can impact your mental health as well. So I want to talk through how to push through rejection and actually make your calls even in the face of adversity. So if you want, by the way, my free cold call training that goes through how to nail any cold call, the fundamentals of cold calling, how to write your opener, how to handle objections, actual over 10 live cold calls that I've made when I set the meeting, click link down below in the description and you can grab it for yourself. Okay, so I think cold call anxiety comes from fear of rejection, and it stings when someone tells you no. It's easier to be told no over email or over LinkedIn DM, but it's not so easy on the phone when someone says "F you, don't call me again," and they hang up on your face. Especially when you're by yourself in a room like this and there's no one really there to make you feel better. It is not such a good feeling. So, how do you overcome this fear of rejection? How do you overcome this fear of failure? I think it starts by really loving yourself. It starts outside of work. It starts taking care of yourself. I think some of the biggest things you can do to feel more confident and to feel more self-love are get enough sleep, like at least 7 hours a night, and try to go to bed at the same time in the evening and in the morning. This book by Jordan Peterson, 12 Rules for Life, talks about this, and it's a really good book. If you haven't read it, I recommend it. Getting good sleep is really important. It's a basic thing, number one. Number two, diet. Eat well. Number three, exercise. Regular exercise is really important. And these three things will help you feel better. And you really can't mentally be healthy if you're physically unhealthy, right? You won't have energy. You'll feel cathartic. You'll feel bad. Those are a foundational baseline, number one. And by the way, exercise before you cold call, specifically actually right beforehand, also makes it easier because you run off the anxiety. You have feel-good chemicals going through you. It helps you feel better when you call, and you'll actually sound better on the phone too. So outside of just regular exercise, going for at least a walk or especially a run before you cold call is quite helpful. Moving on from that, I think just emotional health, like maybe seeing a therapist, making sure you have good friends, good habits, etc. Not smoking, not drinking. These kinds of things are like holistically going to make you feel worse about yourself if you don't do the right thing. If you know you shouldn't be smoking as much as you do or at all, or drinking, or eating junk food, or doing the things you shouldn't be doing. You have to be true to your authentic self. And if you do these things, if you take care of yourself, if you're a healthy person, physically, emotionally, spiritually, intellectually, right, then you'll feel good, and that will actually carry into work. And so when you are on the phone, when you are cold calling, you'll feel more confident. You'll feel more self-love. You won't be worried what someone else thinks of you, especially a stranger who can't see you, doesn't know you, might be having a bad day, right? So if you take care of yourself outside of work, it'll feel better. You'll feel better when you're at work. And by the way, not only will you be more willing to call and better prepared to weather the storm of rejection, you'll also sound better on the phone because you're more confident and you're just exuberating love. You're just sending it out into the universe, and prospects can hear that over the phone. You'd be surprised what can go through your tone, what can go through your voice. We don't realize what's going on, but there's a lot of stuff going on beneath the surface that impacts your success rate on the phone. So I would say if you're feeling anxious about calling and you want to feel better, it all starts outside of work, right? If you want to really crush it, I recommend the self-authoring program by Jordan Peterson. You can write about your past, to understand where you came from and any traumas you have. You can write about your future and what you would like, what you'd like to improve, what you'd like to do to make yourself headed in the right direction, right? If we don't have direction in life, then we can feel like we're floundering, we can feel depressed and anxious, and that's not good for cold calling, that's for sure. So make sure you're healthy physically, emotionally, spiritually, and make sure you understand yourself and what makes you tick, and make sure that you have a plan for the future. Those are not easy things. It takes months and years. I've been working on this for the past few years, and I'm still not there yet. And I don't think I'll ever be there, but it's a journey. It starts outside of work. It's number one. Number two, some more practical tips when you're actually at work, when you're ready to start making your calls. Number one, highly recommend going for no. When you go for no, meaning you actually have in mind that you not only will get rejected, but you actually want to get rejected, it makes the no's easier. I open up a notepad on my computer and I write down rejection goal 10 for the day, and I say rejection so far 0. And as I cold call when I am told no for whatever reason, whether it's F yourself or not interested or not a good fit, I keep a tally of what they said, and I keep a tally of how many rejections I have total. This way I'm expecting a no, and when I get told no, I'm not like, oh, another no. I'm like, yes, boom, closer to my goal. Let's keep rocking, and I keep pushing through. Number one. Number two, by keeping a tally of all of my rejections and the reason why I'm being rejected, it actually helps you get better because you can practice overcoming those objections in the future, and or change your targeting to reach out to customers that won't have those objections because they're a better fit for your product or service. So that's number two, is go for no. Number three, I already mentioned it earlier, but I'm going to say it again. Before you cold call, have a warm-up routine. Go for a run, or maybe put on some hum-bum music and dance a little bit. You have to get comfortable feeling uncomfortable. You have to get comfortable feeling weird. You want to get your blood pumping. You want to get the feel-good chemicals going. That will eliminate stress and help you feel better on the phone. I found it to be incredibly helpful. It helps me feel better when I cold call and actually perform better as well. I would say I pretty much always set more meetings when I have started calling after some form of exercise versus feeling trapped alone in my room and sad. Which, by the way, if you're in a remote selling environment, which you probably are, I highly recommend the tool called Nooks. 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 Nooks.in is a website. I'm friends with the founders. It's a really cool tool. Back in the day, before remote work was popular, salespeople worked in an office, believe it or not, and they had a real sales floor where you could walk around, you could hear everyone else cold calling around you, and you'd actually be able to listen to people's cold calls and hear the people that were doing well, hear the ones that said something that was pretty awkward, and learn from everybody, number one. And number two, just feel like a sense of community. So when you were on the phone, you kind of didn't feel like you were getting rejected, and that was it, because you had your friends with you, you guys could laugh about it together. That's not the case when you're selling in a remote environment. You're all by yourself, you're in a room, usually, you're working from home. It can get kind of lonely and not feel so good. So I usually cold call on Nooks. You can do it with people at different companies and or your own company. When you all cold call together, it makes it a lot more fun. It makes it a lot more entertaining. When you get rejected, it's not a big deal. It just helps with morale overall. So long-term mental health will be better, and your performance will be better on the phone because you'll sound better. You'll be more confident. I think these are all great ways to overcome call anxiety, and just realize this is kind of part of the job, right? The more no's you get, the closer you are to getting yes. And it's really not the end of the world when you have these things in mind. So just to recap real quick, if you want to get over call anxiety, take care of yourself outside of work: physical, emotional, spiritual health. Number two, you want to go for no. Make sure that you have that in mind. And number three, do it with some friends. Have other people around to lift you up. It's always better when we're on a team. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you want to get my cold call training that goes through all of this and more, click the link down below and you can have it for free. Looking forward to it. Thanks. Bye.